Happy rut, happy October, happy hunting season to all my brothers and sisters in arms. It's been way too long, and we have to stay in touch a little bit more often than we have been. Today I'm out at the test facility. My primary objective was to come out, check the trail cameras, get some new trail cameras in, get everything all ready because whitetail season is going to be starting right away. I was sitting in the bunkhouse doing a little bit of writing. It's nice and quiet, it's off the grid, there's no distractions, and as I look out the window and I can see a couple firing lines, well, I have to make a little bit of noise. So I went to the gun truck, I opened up my can of whoop-ass, and what was inside? A couple thermal imagers, some PCA Spectrum polymer cased ammunition. If you've never seen this stuff before, you're going to want to check this out. So we've seen and heard about plastic things lately. All kinds of plastic is making news in the firearms industry in relation to bad things. People talk about plastic or polymers as though it's something bad and inherently evil and sneaky or something. You've seen it. Plastic guns. They're talking about usually they're talking about the Glocks or someone uneducated talking about an AR-15 type gun. Plastic printers, the 3D printers. Oh my God, somebody could print something and make something else out of it. Wow, imagine that. Plastic bump fire stocks. Oh my God, these things that have been out for the last 15 years, there are millions of them out there. We've been using them regularly. They've never been a problem. No one's ever heard of them. Not because they haven't existed, but because they're not a problem. Anyway, they're plastic, so they must be evil. So I got thinking, let's talk about something else that's plastic. It isn't brand new. It's polymer cased ammunition. PCA Spectrum is the name of the ammo. It was made by a company called NATEC, N-A-T-A-C. And I did an article on this stuff maybe, I don't know, 12, 14 years ago in Small Arms Review magazine. And I'll put a link to it, in the description below the video in case you want to get some of the technical information. Today I just want to talk about maybe an overview. We'll talk about it a little bit. Let's have a peek. So why plastic or why polymer casings? What good would that do? Well, there were a few advantages of it. The first one is the reduction in weight. There's a big difference in the reduction of weight versus brass cased ammunition. That meant one of two things. Our guys could either carry more ammo without additional burden or could carry the same loadout with less burden. Either way, that's a good thing. Secondly, the cases were color coded, so you knew immediately just by looking at it what type of load you had. Was it tracer? Was it AP? Was it 55 grain ball? Was it 62 grain? And so on and so forth. I have some left over. I have some red cases, which are tracer ammunition, and I have some gray and some white cases, which are both 55 grain ball ammo. There is something different between the two. I don't recall. It's been a long, long time. Another advantage was it allowed the firearm to run cooler. Cooler. How cool is that? Now, a lot of people think that the gun would be hotter because of this. But it actually runs cooler, and that's because the polymer case acts as an insulator between that rapidly expanding gas in the chamber and the chamber itself. So and we've tested it numerous times. The chambers run consistently cooler. When I first heard of this stuff a long time ago, my first thought was, gee, you're going to melt this stuff in a hot gun. Not even close. The guns don't get hot, and that's a massive advantage. I really wish I was a little bit better set up to do this for you today, but I want to do something a little bit more visual. I don't have a camera connected to one of the thermals, but what I can do so you can see the difference, I'm going to fire 3 rounds of brass cased ammunition, and I'm going to fire 3 of the polymer rounds, and I'll line them up and we'll get a shot through the thermal right away so you can see the difference. Now, I'm not going all tactical operator or anything like some of the other channels that we see, but I'm going to hold the gun a little more sideways so it ejects the shells right to the ground so we can pick them up as soon as possible to check to see what the temperature is after extraction. So it's easy to find the casings this way, right? We just use the thermal, there are the heat signatures. Let's line them up and have a peek. When you take a photo after they've been fired, after I've been fumbling around looking for them, the brass cases have already cooled faster than the polymer because it insulates so well. So the polymer cases are on the left, the brass cases are on the right. In this case, illustrating just the opposite that we were discussing before. stopping the heat transfer from the inside of the casing to the chamber. So one of the obvious questions I had early on was, yes, they're lightweight, but how do they function? Are they as reliable as brass case stuff? What I found was they were absolutely as reliable as brass case stuff as long as you didn't utilize them in a gun with a fluted chamber. Now that's going to be obvious to some of you, to others maybe not so much. The information and the test that we did to illustrate that is going to be in that article link in the description below this video. But let's shoot multiple rounds of the, let's start out with multiple rounds of brass case ammo. I'll do a bunch of brass, we'll swap up magazines, and we'll go to the gray PCA Spectrum, then we'll swap some up and we'll go to the white PCA Spectrum. Let's start with 10 rounds of brass, 55 grain ball brass cased ammunition. Perfect. Let's go to 10 rounds of the white cased PCA Spectrum ammo. Perfect. And on to 10 rounds of the gray cased PCA Spectrum 55 grain ball ammunition as well. How cool is that? So this stuff is really awesome, and the reason that I thought about it is because I've been hearing rumblings in the community about some new types of polymer ammunition. I'm not at liberty at this point to say any more than that, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the PCA Spectrum because it's hard to move forward unless we really know what we've done in the past. You tell me if you want to see this stuff in more detail, and specifically any particular questions that you have about it. Let's check it out and measure it. Now the thermal imagers that I'm using today, I have a Seek thermal imager and I also have a Flir thermal imager, and both of these you can utilize with your Android or your iPhone, smartphone or tablet. They're very inexpensive and they work fantastic. I'll put links to all this stuff, the things that I'm allowed to put links to in the description. While you're there looking around, I'm still making knives, ghost knives. I've been spending a lot of time at the forge now that the mercury is dropping a little bit, and spending time at the cabin when I can doing some writing. The book that's already out, The Evolution of the Black Rifle, I'll put a link to that in the description as well, and we'll see what I can peel out of this thing as the season goes on. But you let me know, do you want to know more about the PCA Spectrum ammo? If you do and have any particular questions, put them below the video. If you enjoyed this short day at the range as we're moving forward, please click like, share us with your friends in your vast social media universe, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, both here and on Full 30, and make sure that you hit notify, because I'm hearing from people all the time that they're not seeing the things in their feed. For some reason, the notify link is being turned off. So if you have clicked notify and you haven't seen anything for a while, take a peek at what we've done to see how much you've missed and turn that notify button back on. You can visit us over on Patreon, where we have a cool community over there and talk about things a little bit ahead of what's going on out here, a little bit more behind the scenes. And you can find us on Facebook daily. That's where we really have a lot of our discussions, at facebook.com/guntestvids. Till next time, have fun and be safe.